Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The Dominica government moves to ban public meetings in the capital. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, April 24. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Dominica's National Security Minister Rayburn Blackmore has signed an order prohibiting the holding of public political meetings or marches in the capital on Tuesday. The order prevents any public meeting within the vicinity of the office of the Prime Minister and may extend it to the whole state. It allows for the minister to prevent any breach of the peace and to maintain public order. According to the public meetings prohibition order, anyone who breaches the order will be fined 10,000 EC dollars or sentenced to 6 months in jail. Police Superintendent Richmond Valentine told reporters that the main opposition United Workers' Party, the UWP, had applied for permission to stage a march in the capital on Tuesday, followed by a public meeting. But he said the Chief of Police, in keeping with the provisions of the Public Order Act, has not granted permission to the party in the interest of national security and for public safety reasons. What's more, the leadership of the United Workers' Party has been advised to seek an alternative venue for the meeting. In February, the UWP staged a public meeting outside the offices of Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit as part of its attempt to get him to step down, alleging corruption within the ruling Dominica Labour Party administration. Following the meeting, a number of businesses were looted and burnt, and government said the actions were part of an attempt of a violent overthrow of the democratically elected DLP. The UWP leadership, as well as that of the Dominica Freedom Party, the DFP, sought to distance themselves from the actions. Meanwhile, lawyers representing Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and 2 other government ministers, as well as a senior police officer, have called on a United States-based blogger and a local radio journalist to apologize and retract a statement made on a local radio program about them earlier this month. A pre-action protocol letter issued to journalist Matt Peltier and US-based blogger Kenneth Ridgelock, that's Ridgelock, said the pair are also being asked to pay compensation and costs associated with the legal action. The lawyers claim that Ridgelock, who resides in Florida, made defamatory accusations against Prime Minister Skerrit, Foreign Affairs Minister Francine Barron, National Security and Immigration Minister Rayburn Blackmore, and Police Inspector Pelham Jean-Baptiste, who is in direct charge of immigration and passports. The lawsuit alleges that Ridgelock was aided by Peltier, the host of the radio program aired on April 20 this year. The lawsuit stems from the ongoing controversy regarding the Citizenship by Investment program, through which foreign nationals are afforded citizenship in return for making a substantial investment in the socio-economic development of the island. Both Ridgelock and Peltier were given a deadline of 4 p.m. Monday to respond to the letter. Failure to do so would result in legal proceedings, with the clients seeking significant compensation on the footing of exemplary and aggravated damages. And still in Roseau, Prime Minister Skerrit continues to stoutly defend the controversial Citizenship by Investment program. He was speaking at the opening of a national consultation on development prospects in Dominica Monday morning. In his address, Skerrit said the reality is that inflows of foreign direct investment into the Caribbean are declining, and there is a need to analyze what is possible and practical within the constraints of a small population and limited resources.
The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that inflows of foreign direct investment into the Caribbean are declining. We need, therefore, as a nation, to sit and analyze what is possible and what is practical within the constraints of our small population base and very limited resources. We need to know what we can commit to over a 12-month, 3-year, 5-year, or 10-year period based on guaranteed supply.
Skerrit said the pace at which the country is able to develop and grow has a direct correlation to the financial resources available to the human resource capacity of the society.
As a small developing nation, there is no shortage of project ideas which we can all create and put on the table. But the question of where the monies shall come from will sooner or later taper expectations to reality.
The one-day consultation brought together representatives from the private and public sector, trade unions, non-government organizations, as well as financial experts from national and regional institutions, including the St. Kitts-based Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The main opposition United Workers' Party boycotted the event. At least 2 people were killed and several houses destroyed as heavy rains battered Haiti's south over the past 3 days. The Directorate of Civil Protection said the rains, which also affected southwest Cuba and Jamaica, caused widespread flooding, the collapse of several bridges, and damage to the agricultural and livestock sectors. Several homes were destroyed and many people have been placed in camps. A damage assessment is being carried out in the affected areas. With Haiti now in the early stages of the rainy season, officials are urging people to remain vigilant and follow safety instructions in the event of floods and landslides. Over in Jamaica, more than 5,000 residents in the southern parish of Clarendon were affected by extensive flooding caused by the heavy weekend rains. At least 1,000 houses were flooded, some of which remain underwater, and some residents had to be rescued from their homes. There were also reports of road blockages, leaving several residents in communities across Clarendon, St. Thomas, and Portland trapped. In one case, as we hear in this report from TVJ News, a father and son had to be rescued. We will come back to that insert for you, but meantime, affected residents began receiving relief items from Sunday, and more supplies, including mattresses and food, were sent off on Monday. In a statement on Monday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said preliminary assessments indicated that the flooding was largely caused by Jamaica's lack of capacity to deal with these extraordinary weather events. He said it was clear that existing drains were not built to accommodate the large volume of water from the 2 days of rainfall. Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Disaster Management, Major Clive Davies, says the National Works Agency will have to study the nature of the rainfall that caused the flooding and see how the drainage system can be fixed.
Certain drains, for example, in the area, some of them may have to now become concrete drains. We have drains that we believe might be improperly sized. In some cases, it can appear to me that the intake is too small. And so some of them we may have to change the size of the intake area of some of these drainage systems.
Earlier, we told you of situations where people had to be rescued, and we were to bring you a sort on a father and son who had to be rescued. Here now is their story.
Many rivers in the streets of Clarendon following a heavy downpour from Friday night through Saturday. The wave-like action and strength of the water was enough to force vehicles to assume the position of a submarine. Others were abandoned, but nothing could prepare residents for this. Roof-deep water in the 19 miles area. Inside, Henry Blair and his son Dwayne Blair. Now, Mr. Blair and his son were inside this room when the water came rushing in. With just seconds to make a decision, they made their escape down this passage and then went into the trapdoor.
So we jump up in the trap hole, and that's where we're up there the whole time. Good thing I had my phone.
And after several phone calls and a 2-hour wait in the ceiling, help in the form of 2 residents. The men braved the murky water, opened 2 padlocks on the garage door, and skillfully made their way to perform the rescue mission.
I've never experienced such a thing in my life from the day I was born in this country. It wasn't pretty.
For now, neighbors are helping them to get their lives back on track. Meanwhile, residents in Mineral Heights, Clarendon were also affected by the flood waters.
Every room, dining hall, flooded out. We have to be putting the things on the block. Over the years, 33 years, and it's the worst since yesterday.
The residents are appealing to the authorities to fix the drainage system in the area.
Well, all of those issues were expected to be discussed at Cabinet on Monday. In Venezuela, opponents of President Nicolas Maduro took to the streets of the capital, Caracas, on Monday, this time staging day-long sit-ins on major streets and highways. Some protesters built barricades using old bathtubs, mattresses, and other debris to prevent vehicles from passing through the capital. Meanwhile, the weeks of political unrest have claimed another victim. The Interior Ministry said that Alimenia Carrillo died in hospital after being struck on the head with a frozen water bottle thrown from a high-rise during a pro-government rally last week. At least 21 people now have been killed since the unrest began almost a month ago over the Supreme Court's decision to gut the opposition-controlled Congress of its powers. And meantime, General Motors is planning to sue the Venezuelan government after the seizure of its car plant caused the company to halt production in the country effective immediately. The company denounced the move and described the takeover as an illegal seizure of its assets. The Venezuelan government has reportedly removed assets from the plant, including cars. GM said it would vigorously take all legal action within and outside of Venezuela to defend its rights. But according to Peter Quinter, Miami-based chairman of law firm Gray Robinson's Customs and International Trade Law Group, GM's legal recourse against the Venezuelan government is probably limited. Caracas has previously seized assets belonging to U.S. companies, including those of cleaning products makers Clorox in 2014, glass maker Owens, Illinois in 2010, and nationalized a rice mill operated by Cargill. President Nicolas Maduro's relations with the U.S. have been tense in recent years, with claims that Washington is aiding the Venezuelan opposition in destabilizing the country. And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, the IMF warns the withdrawal of corresponding banking relations could undermine the growth and financial inclusion prospects of Caribbean countries. Stay with us. There's more news.
To the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabba Ranks, Ultimate Rejects, The Boozman, Mobado, Jack Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Credence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Teddyson John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Goo Goo Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
Chatting CARICOM, a 4-part series on the status of the regional integration process, beginning Tuesday, April 25th at 8 p.m. live on Carib Vision. Chatting CARICOM is your chance to get answers to questions about the integration process and how it affects you. Education, business, travel, entertainment. The series gives updates on recent CARICOM projects and assistance given by the European Union. Join the Caribbean Community CARICOM and Carib Vision for the first Chat in CARICOM, Tuesday, April 25th at 8 p.m. The series comes to you with the assistance of the European Union. Chat in CARICOM, a community for all.
Picture this. Get away to one of the world's most beautiful islands to experience the Digicel Barbados Reggae Festival 2017. 4 of the biggest reggae events, April 23rd to April 30th, featuring the biggest names in reggae. Popcorn, Sprague Benz, Sanchez, Marcia Griffiths, Capleton, Conscience, Ventures, Flower Gun, Glen Washington, Cocoa Tea, and many more. Purchase your event tickets from ticketpal.com. For more details, follow Barbados Reggae Festival on Facebook or Instagram. Barbados, always on.
Welcome back. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, says the withdrawal of correspondent banking relationships could undermine the long-term growth and financial inclusion prospects of Caribbean countries. Correspondent banks, which are mainly large international banks domiciled in the United States of America, Europe and Canada, provide Caribbean states with vital access to the international financial system by offering services to smaller domestic banks and financial institutions to complete international payments and settlements. But many banks which provide correspondent banking services have been seeking to manage their risks by severing ties with institutions in the region. A recent IMF policy paper examining the trends in correspondent banking relationships, or CBRs, noted that these relationships, which facilitate global trade and economic activity, have been under pressure in several countries. It notes that factors leading to global banks' withdrawal of CBRs are multiple, interrelated, and vary case by case, adding that addressing the problem will take time and would require strengthened, coordinated and collective action on the part of public and private stakeholders. It said the first measure would be to enhance respondent banks' capacity to manage risks, improve communication between correspondent banks and respondent banks, strengthen and effectively implement regulatory and supervisory frameworks in line with international standards, particularly for AML, CFT, and remove impediments to information sharing. The IMF executive directors said they welcomed the opportunity to discuss the recent trends and consequences of withdrawal of CBRs and welcomed the initiatives that are currently being considered or implemented to address CBR withdrawal. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies face a challenging final session on the penultimate day of the opening test against Pakistan. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Picture this. Get away to one of the world's most beautiful islands to experience the Digicel Barbados Reggae Festival 2017. 4 of the biggest reggae events, April 23rd to April 30th, featuring the biggest names in reggae. Popcorn, Sprague Benz, Sanchez, Marcia Griffiths, Capleton, Conscience, Ventures, Flower Gun, Glen Washington, Cocoa Tea, and many more. Purchase your event tickets from ticketpal.com. For more details, follow Barbados Reggae Festival on Facebook or Instagram. Barbados, always on.
Come play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week. Not a sailor? Not a problem. Chase the race from the best beach locations and party in the ocean. On our beaches, a different one each day. Take a drink, take another, hula, play, dance in the sand. Dance to reggae, to soca, to the beat of your own drum under the moonlight. 7 beach days and party nights. Come play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week. April 29th to May 7th, 2017. Are you up for the challenge?
The most anticipated musical experience returns. Join us throughout beautiful Tobago as we celebrate the universal language with performances by Grammy Award winner D'Angelo, legendary singer Grace Jones, Shabba Ranks, Morgan Heritage, Ellen Trotman Hess the Band, and many more. The 2017 Tobago Jazz Experience, April 22nd to 30th.
West Indies were facing a challenging final session on the penultimate day of the opening test after Yashir Shah picked up 4 wickets to leave the side reeling at 93 for 4 before the close of the play. They are currently trailing Pakistan by 28 runs. Earlier, captain Mishbal ul Haq struck 99 before being left stranded as Pakistan were bowled out for 407 at tea. The veteran right-hander was on the verge of his 11th Test 100 when number 11 debutant Mohammad Abbas missed the 21st delivery he faced and was LBW'd off spinner Roston Chase for 1. Mishbah, who went past 5,000 career runs during the course of the innings, faced 223 deliveries and struck 5 fours and 3 sixes. Alzari Joseph bowled impressively to claim 3 for 71, while fellow new ball pacer Shannon Gabriel picked up 3 for 92. Here's a look at the final session of today's play.
Highlights of the session. West Indian innings began on a good note. Drives, then a chance of a half chance to Abbas in his follow-through, and they reached 20 without any major dramas. A few leading edges, and then Yasser came and castled Brethwaite with a skidder. Went back and just didn't have enough time really to negotiate it. Then Yasser Shah became aggressive and used that round the wicket angle perfectly. That was a perfect drive, by the way. Then a lap sweep from Paul. He was the most impressive asset for West Indies in that session. Hetmeyer also played Yasser well in patches. That was a flashing drive to the offside. Then a top edge, giving Hetmeyer boundary, missing the stumps down the leg side. Wahab was a bit off colour. Going down, the angle would have taken ball away towards the leg side. A push off the back foot. Once again, wrong line from Wahab. 6 down the ground for Hetmeyer. And then ball inside edge, making room, exposing the stumps. The ball bounced extra on him and he was outplayed on. Hope couldn't fathom the straighter delivery. Drive for Powell, and then he was dismissed. Natural variation from Yasser Shah around the stumps, creating the angle and unit.
And West Indies fast bowler Jerome Taylor could be in action for English County Sussex as early as Sunday after signing a deal to represent the South East England club in the group stages of the One Day Cup. The 32-year-old Jamaican, who 2 weeks ago ended a 10-month retirement from Test to make himself available for West Indies duty, will replace South African seamer Vernon Philander, who has been ruled out with injury. Taylor is scheduled to arrive in England this weekend and will be suited up once he arrives clearance from visa authorities. Taylor last played for West Indies during the T20 series against Pakistan in the United Arab Emirates last September, when the Caribbean side were whitewashed 3-0. The right armour has continued to play domestic cricket for his native Jamaica Scorpions, taking 16 wickets in this year's regional Super 50 and 8 wickets in 4 regional 4-day outings. Overall, Taylor has taken 126 wickets from 85 one-day internationals. Sussex take on Middlesex at Lord's in the opening round of the One Day Cup. Well, the highly anticipated World Relays ran over the weekend with host Bahamas, Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago picking up wins at the event. But first, Barbados got its first medal in the finals of the men's 4x100 meters relay that was won by the United States. The Bajans, led by Mario Burke, snatched the silver medal away from China in the time of 39.19 seconds. Here is the final of the 4x100 meter relay.
The first changeover, good and clean from Great Britain as well. They're hauling in China outside them. Inside the United States, the Canadians, I think, still have a little bit of work to do. The handover for Britain is good as well for Daniel Talbot. And look at the Chinese starting to put the accelerators down, but it's all set up for the final 100 meters, the final leg. The British have made a mess of it, but the Americans are clear. It's Gatlin all the way. The Canadians are nowhere either. It's Justin Gatlin for the United States of America in 38.43. And it is gold for the US. It was billed as the big contest with Gatlin and De Grasse. It wouldn't materialise.
And in the men's B 4x100 meter final, TNT stopped the clock at 39.05 seconds to take the gold medal.
The Bahamas, Germany, Dominican Republic. This is building up wonderfully well. A look back on the final leg for the Bahamas. It's going to be a close one. But it's Trinidad and Tobago, 39.05 seconds that take the men's 4x1B final.
And host Bahamas did not disappoint when they dominated in the final of the 4x400 meter mixed relays in a time of 3 minutes 14.42 seconds. Let's take a look at the final leg of the 4x400 meter mixed relay.
Overtakes Strawn down the home straight. The American will hand over to Claudia Francis on their last leg. The Bahamas, though, will hand over to Matthew Mateo. This is going to be a fantastic finish. USA, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Kenya, the final leg.
For Claudia Francis, the younger sister of Phyllis Francis, who ran earlier on that women's 4x400 meter winning leg. Can she hold up Michael Matthew? Here he comes.
Michael Matthew chasing down the Bahamian. He's got the momentum. He's got her in her sights. The crowd are going absolutely wild. The Bahamas on the final event of this World Relays. Time it to perfection. Bahamas take gold. USA pick up the silver and Jamaica the bronze.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Follow your heart to the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabba Ranks, Ultimate Rejects, The Boozman, Mobado, Jack Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Credence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Teddyson John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Goo Goo Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
dancing and whining and fretting till the morning.
Drinking, masquerading, live music always playing.
Islands of blue seas where people always smiling.
Street jams and bandstands where people will be jamming. Don't you miss this time, no. Our festival, our legacy. Don't you miss this time, no.
Again, the major developments of this day. The Dominican government moves to ban public meetings and marches in the capital on Tuesday. And in sport, West Indies face a challenging final session on the penultimate day of the opening test against Pakistan. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to KanaNews.com. Have yourselves a good night.